Hi, I'm Karl Konrad. I'm an immigration specialist with over 23 years of experience. I founded Australian Immigration Law Services, and each of our consultants has at least a decade of experience. We are registered with the Australian Government to provide migration advice and visa services to those looking to live, work and study in Australia. On this channel, I share visa requirements, tips and important updates. And today, we're going to cover the 494 Regional Employer Sponsored Visa. Do you have an Australian employer to sponsor you for a visa? If your employer is located in regional Australia, you could consider applying for the Skilled Employer Sponsored Regional 494 visa. This is a 5-year temporary residency visa and has a direct pathway to permanent residency via the 191 visa. One of the reasons that many people apply for the 494 visa is because more occupations are eligible compared to the other employer-sponsored visas such as the 482 and 186 visa. This is a significant advantage as you are unable to apply for a visa if your occupation is not eligible. To view the list of eligible occupations for this 494 visa, use the link in the description below. Another benefit is that unlike the 482 visa, where only some occupations are eligible to move on to permanent residency, all of the 494 visa holders have a pathway to permanent residency. The 494 visa is a 5-year visa, but you do not need to wait that long to apply for your permanent residency. Once you have worked for your employer for 3 years, you may be eligible for the 191 PR visa. More on the 191 visa later when the regulations come into effect in 2022. You can qualify for the 494 visa under 2 main streams. This is the employer-sponsored stream and the labour agreement stream. I'll go into detail shortly, but as an introduction, the employer-sponsored stream is what the majority of applicants will fall under. The labour agreement stream is specifically for regional employers who hold a labour agreement with the Australian Government. Applicants under this stream are obviously limited to certain employers, but can access some benefits such as occupations outside the usual occupation list and concessions to certain requirements such as lower English skills or minimum income threshold. There is a third stream for dependents who are not in the original application but wish to join their loved ones in Australia later. As this stream is relatively straightforward, I won't be covering it in this video. Now let's talk requirements. To be eligible for the 494 visa, you must be nominated by an approved sponsor. This is an Australian business located in a designated regional area of Australia, and they must apply to get permission to sponsor you. There are, of course, a few complicated requirements to be met by the employer, which in fact is too many to cover today. You will need to be under 45 years of age at the time you submit your application. And remember that this is not a points-tested visa. However, you still must have a valid skill assessment for your nominated occupation from the authorised skill assessment body, and this assessing authority looks at your education qualifications and your work experience to determine if you are sufficiently skilled in your nominated occupation to be considered for your visa. Beyond the skill assessment, you need to have at least 3 years of work experience in your nominated occupation, and that work must be full-time or the equivalent if part-time. This should have been in the last 5 years. Now, work experience can be cumulative and you do not need to have worked in a single continuous stretch. You must have at least competent English. This is achieved by meeting the required scores on an eligible English test. If you hold a passport from the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Republic of Ireland, or New Zealand, you are exempt and do not need to take an English test. An exemption on your age and skills assessment may apply under specific circumstances. Labour agreements come in a few different forms. There are in fact 5 types of labour agreements, the most common being the Dharma and industry labour agreements. Businesses located in areas with a designated area migration agreement known as Dharma can apply to be approved under this arrangement. Businesses that do this are able to access benefits such as easier requirements for visa applicants to meet and a lower minimum pay. And this helps local regional businesses fill in the labour gaps more easily. There are currently 7 dharmas covering areas such as Orana in New South Wales, the Northern Territory, South Australia and the Kalgoorlie region in WA, to name a few. You will need to visit the official websites to learn more about the different dharmas, and we'll leave a link in the description below. There are also a number of industry agreements such as the current horticultural agreement. In this agreement, occupations such as truck driver, irrigation assistant and forklift drivers have been approved occupations for employers in this industry to sponsor. We'll put a link in for this agreement in the description for you to check out. Of course, you still need to find an employer to sponsor you, and that is the most difficult part. If you're using a labour agreement stream, then the process is quite simple, as many criteria such as occupations, salary ranges, English and age limits have already been approved by the government. However, with the employer-sponsored stream, it is far more complicated and in many ways is very similar to the 482 employer-sponsored visa. Under the employer-sponsored stream, your sponsoring employer must be an approved sponsor. They must also have the nomination approved for the sponsored position. The last stage is when the visa application is when the employer is granted these 2 approvals, and then the department looks at the visa applicant. There will be an examination of their English test results, the skill assessment and work experience to be sure they meet the requirements we mentioned earlier. There are also the standard health and character checks which all applicants must meet. In general, in our experience, it is a requirement under the employer-sponsored stream where the applicant needs to demonstrate the 3 years of work experience and have a positive skill assessment, which makes the 494 visa difficult to obtain. As a general tip for you, try and ensure that the business has a standard business sponsorship approval and nomination approval in place before you pay your expensive application fees. Now, I hope this video has been helpful, and if it has, do subscribe to get more videos like this every week. Are you a business who is thinking of sponsoring, or have you already found an employer sponsor? If you need help, our consultants are here and they are highly experienced. We offer Zoom, Skype and telephone consultations, and you can book your appointment at australiavisa.com. For the full range of updates, join us over at Facebook. Until then, take care out there and I will see you next time. So bye for now.